Solidarity march with Israel at Cape Town Sea Point promenade has turned to chaos. That's after pro-Palestinian supporters decided to confront them. And we have ENCA reporter Kevin Brandt joining us. Kevin, good afternoon to you. Can you just give us an indication of what the situation is currently?
Earlier would have been the site where a pro-Israeli march would have taken place, and we've seen now, following the large crowd that has marched in the city of Cape Town CBD yesterday, a pro-Palestine march, and they are now involved in the police, with a scuffle with the police officials on the ground here to try and disperse the crowd of pro-Palestine supporters who showed up at this very event where the Israeli march would have taken place, and this is where these pro-Palestine supporters are now arresting some.
Baby killers, boss! Baby killers! Baby killers, boss!
And they're involved in a scuffle there. So this is the scene out here. This is the scene out here on the Sea Point promenade here this afternoon, where the pro-Palestine supporters are now involved in a scuffle with the police officials on the ground here and there. As I've said earlier on today, there would have been a pro-Israeli march taking place here on the Sea Point promenade, and that is how this interaction here played out this afternoon. We've obviously seen how this situation here has escalated this afternoon within this site, and there are still a lot of supporters here towards my right on the grass and on the fields here. A heavy police presence also in the area following the clashes that we've seen between the two groups. And we imagine that the police officials will stay on the ground here until the situation is resolved. In my communication with the organizers of the pro-Israeli march, they've indicated that they told their supporters to rather clear the area, as they feel that it is too unsafe for them to remain within the vicinity here in Beach Road in Sea Point, where pro-Palestine supporters have now declared victory, saying that they've chased away the Israeli supporters, and they're still on the scene chanting, singing, and calling for an end and speaking out against the Israel-Hamas war. And this afternoon the intention is also from a lot of these demonstrators that they will remain here within this area. It's unclear for how long they will occupy this specific piece of land here in Beach Road. However, nonetheless resolute in their call for an end to what we've seen played out in the Israel-Hamas war.
And of course, Kevin, this is the only way. Crisis.
We can help you, my brothers and sisters.
One of the supporters echoing some of the sentiments that we also heard from the supporters there in the Cape Town CBD yesterday is that they obviously cannot be there physically where the conflict is playing out, and they also feel that this is the only way that they can highlight the plight of the Palestinian people, by engaging in the act and obviously coming here today to this pro-Israel demonstration, chasing away basically the Israeli supporters here. And as I've said, they've declared victory because they've done so. Cindy?
Kevin, I was saying that this has created a humanitarian crisis as well, as we heard at facilities, particularly in Gaza, where there is now fear that even more lives would be lost because of the bombardments happening. But I want to pick up on the pro-Palestinian march, which was relatively peaceful yesterday, not interrupted by the Israeli supporters, and yet we see the reverse today. Just your sense in how these two groupings in a democratic environment clearly there are tensions, that they're not able to coexist for reasons happening in the Middle East, and that we are likely to see more sporadic attacks or conflicts between the two.
Apologies, Cindy, I did not get that question so clearly. Yes, as I've said, the situation here on the ground remains volatile. Just here behind us, dozens of police officers present on the scene here. Casper, there's also a water cannon that was deployed earlier on our arrival here on the scene. There's Mandela. He earlier addressed the supporters on the ground here. I'm going to approach him to hear if he has anything to say to us at this present moment. There he manages to slip through the barrier created there by the police officers, but nonetheless here behind us towards my right there are also the supporters still remain standing, and I believe that they will be standing here as well. I'm going to ask one of the gentlemen who was at the demonstration yesterday. Fadil, can you just tell us your presence here again today? I saw you yesterday at the pro-Palestine march in the Cape Town CBD. What brings you here to Beach Road in Sea Point today?
My full support for the oppressed Palestinian child. I'm here to protest against Zionists protesting for their right, their God-given right to bomb churches, hospitals and children. I'm here pro-life. I'm here because it's just.
And just Fadil, in terms of the action that we've seen from government, especially in this past week, when it comes to the very issue regarding Israel, do you feel that they're acting with enough pressure, or is there more that they can do?
The only pressure that will suffice is the day we cut all diplomatic and economic ties with the apartheid state of Israel. If you want to talk to me about government's failings, look around you. I see almost 400 policemen deployed to protect a handful of racist Zionists. But where are these policemen when 3,500 of our children are being killed year on year? This is how the state abuses the colored people, and in particular the Cape Flats colored child. We are the Palestinians of Cape Town.
What would you say to a lot of people who feel that they sympathize with what is playing out in Palestine, but they also feel right here, right on our doorstep, there's also a lot of criminality and a lot of killings taking place, but you don't often see this outcry of support when it comes for our local issues here?
I'm pretty sure I'm the loudest voice for the criminality in the Cape Flats. I'm pretty sure of that. But what I can say, if it wasn't for international pressure, I wouldn't be a free man today. We will apply that same pressure for the Palestinian child.
Thank you very much for your sentiments. That was
the allocation of resources in the Western Cape. We have to talk about it.
Speak to the leadership. Speak to the leadership. Don't choose the people outside the crowd.
Cindy, I'm just going to make...
Let us attend to this.
Cindy, we've just been requested to please move out of the space here by Mandela. They say that they have some issue to address there. As you can see, the crowd are gathering, and I've been also asked by one of the supporters there to rather let the leadership speak. Do you feel that you want to address something with me? Thank you so much.
Are you going to stand over there? No, you see the thing is this leadership is great and we respect the leadership, but there are those of us on the ground who fight this battle each and every single day. We fight the scourge of violence against the killing of our children, the rapes and killings of our children on the Cape Flats and in our townships every day. And there is never, ever, ever the same presence of the police and law enforcement that we saw here today. We need to address the disparity in the allocation of resources when it comes to the protection of certain sectors of society within the Western Cape. I have never seen the amount of police when there is a gang shooting and a 4-year-old is being shot in the head simply because they were playing outside. I have never seen the amount of police in the Western Cape and on the ground as I've seen here today protecting a select handful of people. We cannot and should not be standing for this. Also, my forefathers had to have a Dompas pass to come and sit here and watch the waves. We will not be going back to an apartheid state. You do not get to tell us where and when we can and cannot congregate in a democratic South Africa that people struggled and died for. The Western Cape needs to start realizing that we will not take the disparity in the resources anymore.
Mushfika Botha, she's a resident here of Cape Town, Cindy, sharing her view with regard to the heavy police presence that she's seen here at the Sea Point Promenade, and you know, this guard being formed here by the police officers remains here in the area. I believe that there's going to be some sort of address taking place here from the middle, as I understand that these are the leadership organizations. There I also saw the Muslim Judicial Council's presence within the crowd here, so there will be some form of address, probably with regard to the way forward and how this demonstration out here at the Sea Point Promenade will be playing out, Cindy.
Kevin, thank you so much. Of course, we will be in touch with Kevin Brandt as he has more guests and hopefully also speak to the leadership. Currently, he is in Cape Town, where a pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli march was disrupted or intercepted by pro-Palestine supporters with the heavy police presence, intercepting that to make sure that peace is, or some form of peace is restored. But we'll give you an update if there are any developments on this particular story.